Light breaks the shadow of the weary heart. Truth cuts the dark like a flaming dart. Voices rising strong to lift the call. This is the time we give it all. Lynne Scott Haggerman bringing the fire. Words that ignite hearts burning higher. Faith and power, no chains combined. Step into the light, leave fear behind.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Lynne Scott Haggerman podcast, where truth has no filter, freedom is our mission, and light exposes the darkness. I'm your host, Lynne Scott Haggerman. I'm a survivor of child trafficking and medical experimentation underground at a U.S. University Medical Center in conjunction with our government through MK Ultra mind control. I am the voice they tried to silence, and I am silent no more. Praise God. Today, I'm also an international award-winning human resource consultant and a marathoner, standing strong in mind, body, and spirit. Be sure to visit my websites, qgrit.org, the letter Q, the word grit, grit.org, where I'm helping provide aftercare for rescued trafficked children and adults healing from any kind of trauma. Also, please go to Live Younger with Lynne, LYNNE.com, where I'm an independent distributor of LifeWaves, X39, and Celergize stem cell activation patches. They are the wearable med bed. Now, let's get to the truth. And I want to bring on my guest today, none other than TJ Ward. Hello, TJ.
Hey, how are you?
I am doing great. I want to start by sharing with my audience about your background before we get into these astounding cases and the work that you do for humanity. So, folks, TJ Ward is the founder of TJ Ward & Associates, a private investigative firm that's been serving individuals and corporations since 1982. TJ is a United States Marine. Thank you for your service, TJ.
Thank you.
A firefighter, EMT, and has served over 40 years in law enforcement in Georgia. He's brought justice to the voiceless, and that just touches my soul so deeply because similar missions, different lanes, a voice for the voiceless. He's brought justice to the voiceless in missing persons, criminal defense, anti-stalking, death investigations, and many, many more. He has appeared on Geraldo, Larry King, Dr. Oz, Good Morning America, and the Lynne Scott Haggerman podcast. Just throwing that in, TJ, part of your bio there. TJ believes every citizen deserves the same investigative tools as the government, and he is here to talk truth, surveillance, and justice. Welcome again, TJ.
Thank you. Thank you.
I am so honored to have you. We were talking before the show, sharing a few of your cases, but first, would you please give an overview of what exactly you do now to help humanity?
Well, I get involved in cases in one or two ways. I either prepare cases for law enforcement or prepare cases to get somebody off of somebody that's been charged, or I end up putting cases together to have somebody charged. If I've worked a lot of cases like that. I have resources not only in law enforcement but with the federal government. And I have to say that the former federal prosecutor in Atlanta, Bob Barr, who was in Congress on 2 terms, is on my staff also. So we work a lot of high-profile cases together, and I've been doing work for him for over 40 years. And we get success, and that's the name of the game. My game of being an investigator is to find out what is going to work for you and to try to get it done.
So your website, I have for the audience, I know we have radio audience too. TJ's website is TJ, the initials T, the J, Ward, PI as in private investigator, but just the initials PI.org. And there you'll hear
.com.
.com. Thank you.
.com.
Correction. And so my ticker says .org, so I'm just telling everyone now it's .com. And you can see too about Bob on his website, as well as the myriad of networks that he has been on. We were talking before the show started about a couple of cases. You currently have someone who is wrongly imprisoned. Let's start there. Tell me, how did you get that case in the first place? How does that work? Because there might be people listening that would also like to reach out to you. And so tell me about that one first.
This family called me. This gentleman was prosecuted in, hold on one second. This gentleman was prosecuted in Macon, Georgia, and he apparently had a relationship with this girl, and apparently they had some problems. So she called the police, and they made a police report in regards to his sexual assault that was supposed to be, and having a knife and so on and so forth. And they arrested him and went through the motions of fact. And shortly after she had time to think about it, she went back to the prosecutor after they had indicted him and said, well, this really didn't happen. I just was angry at the time. And the prosecutor told her and said, if you don't move forth with what you told me, I'm going to put you in jail for false report of a crime. So,
wow.
Oh yeah. So they went through the motions. One of the first things that I did after I got hired, the family hired me, learned who I was. And I've been working on this case now for 6 years. And he has literally been in prison for 25 years this year, 25 years.
Oh, TJ.
It really, after the first thing I did was look into the doctor at, it was Houston County Medical Center, and I don't mind bringing it up, but the doctor was working there. So I looked at his background and learned that he didn't even have a license at the time he examined her.
Whoa.
He had lost his license with the medical board here in Atlanta, also in Texas, and also in Maryland. So I finally contacted him, and I literally sat down and I recorded him. And I asked him, I said, did you see any evidence of sexual assault? This girl had been raped or anything? He said, absolutely not. So after talking to him about it, I found out he had been charged with 3 times. He had been charged with drugs, having drugs, and got criminally prosecuted 3 times here in Atlanta. And they took his license. I went to the medical board. The gentleman took his license with the medical board. He's retired. So I went and knocked on his door at home. He gave me an affidavit about this doctor. So I went back to the doctor and I met with him. I went there and sat down and recorded him. And he told me all about her and about what he did as examination. So shortly after that, I started looking into the prosecutor, the DA's office that prosecuted him, and learned that they withheld information under Brady that would have cleared my client. And the doctor testified in the case. And the problem is the DA's office knew that the doctor didn't have a license. So, I mean, this thing didn't hang right at all. So we started getting into other things in the background of the doctor, the background of my client, and the background of the DA's office. And we now have in motion, we've already put into play to go after the hospital, the doctor, and the DA's office for what transpired in this conviction. He got convicted. They convicted him. And you have to understand, this was in Houston County, Georgia. And way back when this happened, Houston County, Georgia was very a prejudiced county. I mean, there was a lot of problems. And my client is black. And but anyway, we've been going through the motions with lawyers and so on and so forth. And ironically, about 6 months ago, we got a letter from the victim, the so-called victim, a certified letter notarized by a lawyer that she said she made the story up, and she apologized.
You know, TJ, like, I'm appalled at several levels, but frankly, I have been speaking out now for about a year and a half. And I have so many people that contact me where there is injustice, especially regarding children and crimes against children, harming children in egregious, heinous ways. And I would say 99% of the time, I would call our justice system the injustice system, because it's very hard. So I'm so grateful to meet a warrior like you, because I sit and I hear The prosecutor withheld evidence, knew the man was innocent, proceeded anyway, threatened to jail the woman who, I mean, I don't even understand how that is allowed.
Well, it happened. It happened, and he's still in prison, and we're still trying to get him out. I've got Bob Barr looking at the case right now, and we're trying to do a GoFundMe to raise him money right now. We're trying to raise him money to be able to hire Bob Barr, and we will take and move this case to federal court and get him out of prison. And,
what is the GoFundMe, TJ? I'm sorry I interrupted.
we haven't set the GoFundMe up yet, but we are going to do so. And if somebody is interested in donating to it, please contact me. I don't mind putting look at me. You got my website. Send me an email. My telephone number is on my website, and so on and so forth. Please call me. We are trying to raise money to get this gentleman out of jail. I mean, he's been in jail 25 years. I mean, it's incredible.
It's egregious. This is a crime against humanity. So again, TJ Ward, PI, standing for privateinvestigator.com. The ticker has .org. It should be .com. So please, prayer warrior patriots, go a little extra mile and don't do the .org, do the .com. So I want to try to highlight as many cases as we possibly can. And the other one we were talking about was this case you were telling me about in the Dominican Republic. So, but we were, it was go time. We had to go live. I didn't get to hear the rest. So spend, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes talking about that case.
Well, I have a case in Dominican Republic. I was hired, and it's still active now, and I got to be ear careful what I talk about, but I got hired. I went on TV, if you'll recall, the girl that went missing in Dominican Republic about 2 months ago, the girl from Virginia that was there on vacation, and she went to the beach with a guy that she had met there, and everybody claims that she disappeared, she drowned. Do I believe she drowned? No, I don't believe she drowned. The guy she was with pulled her out of the water. They were both very intoxicated. And so he woke up and she was gone, and he assumed that she went back to her hotel room when in fact she didn't. With her 4 friends that she traveled with there, they were looking for her also. And finally, law enforcement got involved 8 hours later. And her parents came down. They're Indian. They came down from Virginia. And I mean, it's bizarre because everybody has talked about her drowning in the water. If she had drowned, she would have washed up. We'd have known, we'd have found something that indicated she drowned in the water. I think somebody snatched her up. Her parents asked law enforcement for a death certificate. And to this day, her parents know who I am. There's law enforcement in Virginia that's been dealing with the family that also went to the Dominican Republic. And they told the family about 3 weeks ago, said, you need to get a lawyer or you're going to need to get an investigator. And the father said, you mean TJ Ward? And he said, yes. To this day, they have not called me. I've had people reaching out to them to try to get them to bring me on board. And I would do a GoFundMe. There's people in Virginia already, Indian families that want to do a GoFundMe to pay for me to go down there. And I said, I don't want to do that until I get the blessing with the family, because I don't want to make it look like that I'm going down there just for money to go down there and work. When I get the blessing from the family, the mother and father want me to go, we'll raise money and it won't cost them a dime, and we'll go there and find them. Ironically, I've just now have hired a gentleman in the Dominican Republic who's opening an office for me there. I have my office now in Dominican Republic. And since then, while I was on TV, I was actually on TV about 15 times with this actual event that happened in Dominican Republic. And there was a doctor there that just hired me. And she's going through a messy divorce and with money and so on and so forth with her husband. So she has just hired me to go in and look for things in regards to what he's doing with his money.
I've heard you talk now a couple of times about the GoFundMes. I would educate a guess, probably the most people who listen to us are everyday Americans, everyday Joe Americans, hardworking folks. And when these situations come up, they wouldn't have the funds to hire people. So is that a common part of
this gentleman's name, it's in jail. It's been in jail 25 years. His name's
Yeah.
Jesse Arnold.
Okay.
and we're trying to raise money for him. And we have just talked about getting a podcast together, and I have one of my associates that's arranged him with the wife to do so. If they would send me, if somebody wants to help donate and with our GoFundMe so we can get it set up, it would be great. I have an individual that works for me that's going to do that. So if they could send me an email, let me give you my email also. It's tjward
Okay.
at tjwardpi.com.
And people who are thinking now about possibly hiring you for a situation they're in, then creating GoFundMes for them if they have financial challenges clearly is something that's part of your process.
We'll help them. We'll help them raise money. If they have a legitimate investigation, we'll raise money to bring me on board. I don't care where they are. I have 4 cases right now outside the United States, and we go everywhere. I'm licensed here in Georgia, and we help with. I do a lot of cases in Florida, North Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama. But if it's elsewhere, we'll get involved and we'll get it out there. And if it's a very high profile case, I'll get it out in the media. I'll get the media to help me do what I need to get done. I've got such a relationship with them. I'm on Fox, I'm on Court TV, I'm on CNN, lots. I was on Court TV last night with a case that happened in Florida. I mean, a very, it was sad. It really was. Being on there was this family that was out in Arizona, and they adopted 9 kids, or I should say 10 kids, because one of the kids begged their mother that gave them up to let her come out of there where they were. They ended up moving to Florida, and there's probably a reason why they moved to Florida. One of the kids showed up at a church camp with a live taser, and that's when law enforcement got involved and started looking into them. There was a cage by their mailbox where they lived. There were 9 of them. There was a mother, father, and their 2 adult daughter and son that lived in a trailer and had 9 kids that they brought. They were making them sweep the floor, clean, doing something. And if they didn't do what they asked them to do, they would spray them in the face with vinegar. It was just unbelievable. They were locking them up and tying them down and bolting them into rooms. If they had to go to the bathroom, they have to wait till the next day. It was really sad what happened. But when I talked last night, I talked about not only this small town that they're in, they need to incorporate this investigation in Arizona, because something happened in Arizona for them to pack up and leave and bring 9 kids to Florida. Something happened with the agency that got them involved, both in Florida and in Arizona. And I suggested that we get the FBI or the U.S. Attorney's Office involved to work on this case. This police department in Florida is just way too small to be able to handle this type of investigation. It just can't happen. And but it's so sad for these kids. But now they've all been taken into custody. One of the kids, as I told you, the oldest one, called their mother that gave them up and begged her to let her come home, and she did, and she's gone. But these other 9 kids are now in custody of the government. And it's sad. They're all charged in Florida right now, which they need to be charged federally. They're all under a $1 million bond. So they're not going anywhere. But it's just so sad what transpired. These kids one of the kids didn't even know what their birthday was, what their name was, didn't know anything about their self, wasn't even educated, had no education whatsoever. It was just sad. It really was last night when I was on TV with it on Court TV.
What age is the child that does? I know he doesn't know, but educated guess by stature.
These kids go from 3 to 14. 9
so,
kids.
With my background, being trafficked as a child, harm to children really touches me deeply. So, with this case in particular in Arizona, how do 4 adults living in a trailer get 9 children? How does that even happen?
It was done privately through a church group. It wasn't. That's the way it was done. It wasn't done through the government. That's the difference. And but I think if the federal government gets involved, they need to look at these 2 organizations, one in Arizona and one in Florida, that help them get these kids. But there's some reason why they left Arizona and then ended up in Florida. So, and they law enforcement over here needs to look and communicate with law enforcement over here in Arizona. That's why I'm saying the federal government needs to get involved so they have the jurisdiction nationwide to be able to do what needs to be done. This is so sad. I mean, working on it last night and being on TV. I mean, it was just unbelievable, the things that came up in this case. I mean, this is the things that are going on in the United States right now.
That's
I mean,
right.
it's so sad. It really is. And thank goodness for, and not blowing smoke myself, but somebody like me to get involved like this and look into this. I mean, my 47 years in law enforcement has given me the experience of where I am with my 43 years of being in the private sector to be able to help families. I will tell you something that happened this morning.
Yeah.
I've been working on a case where a lady she actually has a home in South Carolina, in Charleston, South Carolina. Her husband lives and she went back home because she's a Canadian citizen. For 3.5 years, she's been trying to get across the border and they've been stopping her. Her husband had something to do with it. So we got lawyers here in Atlanta that specialize in immigration that went through the motions. This morning, she called me yesterday and I said, here's what you need to do since the lawyers got involved. I want you to pack up and get ready. She texted me this morning at about an hour ago and said, you are the greatest person in my life. I just got across the border. She said, you told me how to do it and I got across the border and I'm on my way back to South Carolina. And she was praising me like you would not believe. But I literally worked on that case for 3.5 years trying to get her across the border. She was been terrorized by her soon-to-be ex-husband up in Canada. And the laws in Canada, there's a lot of corruption with law enforcement and people that are powerful to get involved. And her husband was very powerful because he sells communication equipment to the federal government in the U.S. And he lives in Canada, but he was causing her not to be able to leave Canada. And they were literally terrorized. They tried 3 times to kidnap her kids. And
Who's they?
the people involved in the government that are saying, oh yeah. And I hate to say this, I worked for the government for almost all my life. After I got out of the Marine Corps, I went to EMT school and cardiac tech school. And then I was a firefighter for 2 years. And then I got in law enforcement in 1973. And I've been in law enforcement until I retired in 2019. And but I don't trust the government anymore. I do not trust the government. There is so much, it's who you are, how much money and powerful of what's going to transpire. I'm going to tell you a little horror story, and I really didn't want to talk about it, but I will tell you. I'll tell you the story.
Yeah.
2019, I got contacted here in Gwinnett County, Georgia by a judge, a Superior Court judge. And she came over here where my office is and took me to lunch. And she said, I'm going to tell you a little story. There was a prosecutor in office for 32 years. Okay. Very powerful, very well known. So she came to me and she said, I need your help. She said, I'm scared. And this is a Superior Court judge telling me she's scared. And she said, I think the prosecutor is going in my computer and in my office. So I said, really? I said, do you want me to find out? And she said, if you can. So the next day I sent 2 investigators up to the courthouse and we put a Wireshark on her computer. And the next 3 nights we watched the DA's office going into her computer.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
The DA's office found out about one of my investigators that works for me that he has been having problems with for the last 20 years with the DA's office. They had him arrested.
Wow.
They had him arrested. So his attorneys called me and he found out. He went to the judge and told him that this guy was working for me. And the smart thing is she recorded the whole conversation with her phone. She recorded it. She sent it to me. So shortly after that, I go to the jail to interview him, and I go into security, and the deputy says, are you a police officer? And I said, yes, I am, but I'm not here in law enforcement. I'm here as a private investigator. He said, yeah, I see a handcuff key on your key ring. I said, yeah, it's been there 40 years. I'm a police officer. So I went in and set my phone down. They gave me an attorney booth, and I started walking down there. I got about halfway down there and realized I left my phone sitting on the counter. So I went to turn around to go get my phone, and I was met by a female captain and asked me if I was lost. And I said, no. I said, I left my phone. She said, well, you can't have your phone in here. I said, well, lawyers have their phones in here. I said, I'm an investigator. So she said, I'll secure your phone. So I go to the attorney booth and I interview him for 45 minutes about what transpired and left. 2 hours later, I get a phone call from the chief of police. The prosecutor called the chief of police and told them that I passed a handcuff key to the inmate.
Wow.
I retired that day. That's the day I retired from law enforcement. That prosecutor lost the election. Okay. 3 weeks after that, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation contacted me and all three of my investigators. They claimed that we accessed the county's computer system. We did not. All we were doing was monitoring. They had us 9 months later indicted on three felonies for computer trespass. I had myself
because the prosecutor was watching the judge. Okay, this is just quite the story, TJ.
Well, I went to Bob Barr and Bob's assistant, Michael J. Pugliese, who's here in Snellville, Georgia, representing me. And we went to court, and the judge was from Athens, Georgia. And the goodness is that he did not like the prosecutor. He did not. My two other investigators got off. I pled to one misdemeanor. He dismissed all three of the felonies against me. And the reason being, he asked me, he told Mike and Bob that he wanted to hear from me. And I have to tell you a story, and we hadn't gotten into this. I did a TV show for the disappearance of Natalie Holloway in 2017.
Yes.
I was going back with Natalie's father, who was on Oxygen Network. In fact, it just aired twice on Oxygen. The last show, I was to go back to Aruba and with Natalie's father to do the last show, was on June the 7th in 2017.
Okay.
At June the 3rd at 3:15 in the morning, I got woken up. And I got woken up that my youngest son overdosed on heroin.
Oh.
He was unconscious going to the hospital. So I got up and started to get dressed. And before I got out the door, they called me back and said he died.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I had to stop the show for 10 days to bury my son. But the mere fact that the judge, after he wanted to hear about me, and he didn't know I was a police officer, and his whole demeanor changed while he was on. That's why he dismissed the case. So he asked me about my kids, and when I told him about my son dying, his whole demeanor changed, and he said, I'm going to dismiss the 3 felonies against you. The judge went to trial. I testified in the hearing, and the judge came out. When I started testifying, the prosecutor came into the courtroom, and the judge stopped the hearing and told the district attorney to leave the courtroom and don't come back. The judge's case was a mistrial. They have not done anything else about the case since then. They know now that came out in the trial that we caught them. I caught the district attorney's office going into his computer.
So then, I mean, I'm sitting here listening, TJ, and this is the stuff that we're reading about constantly today in the United States of America, where people in power are doing illegal activities, and then when they're caught, they turn and project and blame the person for doing what they're actually doing. I mean, we see this play out over and over. And unfortunately, that person goes through the fire, usually with their reputation and their finances destroyed, may or may not come out on the other end in jail or free. But by that time, their reputation, finances usually destroyed, and the bad guys walk free. So the original person who was monitoring the judge's emails, did he walk scot-free?
I know. So let me tell you this, and I don't want to really get into politics, but I have to say, thank goodness that Donald Trump's in office, because now all the things that happened to him back in 2016 and these people that were involved,
yes,
are now getting exposed.
Yes.
And I think this is just the beginning. I really think that there's things that's going to transpire before this is over with. And look how many people that are indicted. Look at what happened up in New York. Trump gets indicted and gets convicted. And ironically, the prosecutor that did this is now on the hook for doing the same thing that she accused him of.
That's
Is that
right.
crazy?
Yes, this projection.
I have something that I live by. It's called what goes around comes around.
Yep.
Okay. You have to remember that when you do something to somebody, it may come back and bite you. So you need to be very careful. And I'm telling you something. I am not about money. I could care less. I'm about helping people. I just told you a story about this lady in Canada.
Yes.
Okay. And she was out of money, but I continued to help her to get her free from where she was. And this morning, she wrote a text message to me that I sent to Congressman Barr this morning. She sent me and praised me. And I guarantee you, when she gets back over to South Carolina, she's going to rehire me again. I can tell you that. And
Yes.
so what you do for people now and helping people, this isn't about money to me. This is not about money at all. I mean, it costs money for me to do certain things, but I'm about helping people. And that's why I'm probably the oldest private investigator in Georgia. A lot of these other ones and police officers that try to get involved, they don't understand business. They don't understand what they need to do for people. And I've been lucky to get out into the media because the media promotes me now. When some big case comes up, they call me and I talk about it. And my experience, and let me tell you, I was a drug agent for 7 years. And I didn't tell you that I'm an airplane and helicopter pilot also.
Yes,
I flew for drug enforcement. I was a pilot.
Oh, okay.
I was a pilot for drug enforcement, but I was a drug agent for 7 years. And I've seen the worst. I've seen what happened to my son with drugs. My son was a super kid in high school. He lettered in football, baseball, wrestling, and then ended up running with the wrong crowd. And then it just cost him his life. I had him in a halfway house for 9 months. He was clean.
Oh.
And he had a weak moment one night and called 2 drug dealers. If it had been another way around, if the drug dealers would have called him and he died and took drugs, I would have prosecuted him. But I had to take a look, and I got his phone, and I saw that he called the drug dealers. So the shoe was on the other foot. But I can tell you now, as being a diehard Catholic, he's in a good place, and he's not doing drugs.
Amen. Amen. Praise God.
Yep.
And I know you mentioned, you didn't want to talk politics. I would, which is fine. I would love to hear your opinion, though, when you brought up the 2016 exposure. That is the very, very hot right now, is all of the testimony that's going to be happening soon. Can you let us know from a legal standpoint, what exactly are we watching? Is there going to be justice this time, or what are we watching? What's going to be happening?
I think these politicians,
Yes.
are going to be they're going to get prosecuted. You look at what happened. They have got documents now that they just pulled up. I'll tell you what, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton are in big trouble. They're about to take their deposition next week. That's never happened. That's never happened. And the people, and look at all these people. Look, Bill Clinton's in big trouble with the guy that just died and his girlfriend in prison.
Yes.
Yep, that's a big deal too. They're going to expose all these people, and they know that Donald Trump was not part of that. They know, because if he was, it would have come up a long time ago.
That's right.
They know now. I mean, I love Donald Trump. I mean, sometimes he talks too much, but he's a great person, and look what he's done. And 200 days he's been in office. I mean, he's moved mountains. He stopped wars, and it's just the Democratic Party right now is in bad shape. They don't even have a leader. And I think all these people that caused all these problems for him in 2016, 2020 are about to pay the price. And again, what I just said a few minutes ago, what goes around is about to come around. And I think now with these prosecutors that are in office, they're not playing. This prosecutor that used to be in Florida is serious. She's serious about what she does. And it's got nothing to do with Donald Trump. She's pulling out the documents that's leading to what's going to convict him. And I really think you're going to see a whole different ball of wax, what's about to transpire within the next 24 months.
So that was actually going to be my next question is, what time period do you think that this will transpire? Because sometimes, and then, because one worry or concern that I had was, what if it goes past Trump's, time in presidency? Will it get swept under the rug like something?
Let me tell you what's going to happen there.
Okay.
I think one of the either his vice president or the congressman who's now in office with him from Florida.
Yeah.
One of them are going to run for president.
Okay.
And let me tell you what's going to happen with Trump. He's going to be vice president.
Okay, I'll take that. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about another 4 years he's going to be in office.
Yeah. Love it.
You step back one notch. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you not hear that before?
No, I actually haven't. I heard that rationale before, or that line of thinking before he was reelected this term, but I haven't heard it since he's been.
Yeah. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about if he promotes somebody that's working with him right now to get elected president.
Yeah.
He steps back and gets appointed vice president.
Awesome.
Yep.
Absolutely
He'll still be in office. He's turning around. He's turning this country around.
Yes, he
A lot
is.
of people said, "Oh, it's not going to happen with the tariffs. He's doing it." It is. I mean, look at he's meeting with Putin next week. Okay.
Yes.
That war is going to be over.
Yes.
I mean, he's serious about this. I mean, look at what did he do last week? Send 2 submarines to near Russia. He's not kidding. And he's got and the good is it's just not about him. He's got backers now, and see the court system. He's winning with the court system, and that's important. That's important. And that judge, you see the judge that I had a problem with, the judge up in New York, he's history. He's
So
history.
how does he do that? I mean, I had heard from someone that judges have to be impeached to be removed. So how? No.
His prosecutor got him. His
Okay.
prosecutor got him.
Okay.
Yep. And I'm gonna tell you something. This 28-year-old person that gets out and talks for him every day.
Yeah.
She's smart as a whip, buddy. She
Yes,
is smart, and she's good at what she does. She's gone up against him, and she is so intelligent. It's unbelievable. He couldn't have picked a better person that can go to bat for him. And see another thing, and now Trump's exposing the media. He's exposing the media, who was always against him now, and it's all. And again, what comes around goes around. It's turning on him now. It's turning on him. Even CNN is turning and on his side. I mean, they're talking good about him now. I just turned it on the other. I couldn't believe it. And CNN back 10, 15 years ago was a great deal. I was on CNN a lot. I don't have any respect for them now. I mean, they still call me every now and then, but I don't have any respect for them. And their ratings have gone down so bad, it's not even funny.
Yes. Yes.
And, I mean, the number one media group right now who talks good about Trump 9 out of 10 times is Fox. And I'm on Fox a lot. And but anyway, I have to tell you a little funny story.
Okay.
2007, and it's on my website. If you look, you'll see a big magazine article in there. It says T.J. Ward knows enough to be dangerous.
Yes, I did.
Well, that was a magazine. Donald Trump and his daughter was on the front cover, and my name was on there. High profile super sleuth T.J. Ward. Donald Trump, he took that article and framed it for me in gold and gave it to me. It's on my wall right here.
Wow, TJ, that's amazing.
Yep, that's sitting right here on my wall, right here.
That's
Donald Trump gave that to me.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yep.
You had the case with Natalie. I know that most of our viewers are aware of that, but that was an extremely high profile case. So will you spend a few minutes, please, talking about that?
Natalie Holloway's case. I worked on that case for 18 years, and I will tell you, Beth Holloway hired me first in 2005. And you know how I got that case?
No.
I have a contract with a firm in Israel, okay, for a
Okay.
system called layered voice analysis. It's a 21st century truth technology. It is now incorporated with AI. I can take any conversation, whether it's live over the phone or from a recording, and I can tell you if you're lying or hiding something. It's 95% accurate.
Wow.
I am the only private investigator that has this system. I sell it to law enforcement and corporate security. I have a contract for the United States with the company in Israel. I am the only private investigator, again, in the U.S. that has it. I've sold 5 of them to the county that I live in, and the government pays for it with the government with law enforcement. The government will. I can do I can pull documents together and send them to the government, and the government will pay for the voice analysis. But that's what got me to Aruba. When I saw Deepak, Satish, and Vandersloot on TV talking about Natalie when she went missing in 2005, I took my system and started taking their conversations, and I could see that they were not telling the truth.
Oh, wow.
I picked up the phone and called Jug Twitty, who was married to Beth Holloway, and I told them about the voice analysis and what I found out. Jug Twitty got on 2 TV shows that night and talked about me and told them what I had. The company saw the shows and sent me a ticket to go to Aruba. I was in Aruba for 10 days, and I met with the FBI and Aruba authorities. They said, we don't allow the voice analysis here, much less the polygraph. I said, well, what they don't know is I don't need them in front of me to find out if they're lying or hiding something. I can take their conversations when I get on TV, radio, or whatever.
Wow.
So I came back to them and told them that they don't allow the voice analysis in Aruba. I said, we need to do a good old-fashioned investigation. 30 minutes later, they came back and called me and said, we want to hire you. So I started my journey in Aruba and started going over there and interviewing people. I worked on a case for 18 years until 2 years ago. Vandersloot, Greta Van Susteren, and Beth convinced the government in Peru. Now, I will tell you this. In 2010, Vandersloot's father died, and he called Beth and said, I will tell you what happened to your daughter for $250,000. Well, Beth's lawyer came down from New York, and we set him up with the FBI. And we had a whole room wired at the Marriott. He came in, accepted $25,000. He took the money and left, and then called Beth back and said, I made the story up. He took off and went to Peru. The FBI should have arrested him right then and there, and they didn't. They said, oh, we want to watch him. He took that money, went to Peru, went to the casinos and started gambling, met Stephanie Flores in the casino, went back to his hotel room that night. He was in the shower. He left his computer open. Stephanie Flores got on his computer and saw all the documentation about Natalie Holloway. When he came out of the shower, she started talking to him and mentioning to him about it. He got very angry. He hit her in the face and broke her neck and then fled.
Wow.
He was caught by a taxi cab driver after it was a lookout for him, turned him in. He admitted to killing Stephanie Flores and received 28 years in the Peruvian prison, is where he is now. Beth Holloway and Betty Van Susteren went to the Peruvian government and asked them to extradite him 2 years ago, which they allowed. They brought him to Birmingham with the FBI, and he finally admitted what he did to Natalie. He killed Natalie, hit her in the face with a brick, and killed her.
Wow.
He received 20-year sentence concurrent with the charges. And when he gets out of there, he's got to come to the federal penitentiary in Alabama for 20 years. He's not going anywhere. But Dave Holloway and I have continued to work on the case. Dave Holloway and I are very good friends now. And we did a TV show together. I speak to Dave every week. We are looking still into, and we've identified who took Natalie's body off the island. I know his father, Vandersloot's father, was involved. He was a judge in training. He was involved also, but he's deceased and died in 2010. But we have a name who took Natalie's body off the island. And we have people looking for him right now. So that's where we are with it. We haven't given up.
That's amazing. I'm listening to all your stories, TJ. I love your, I just thought bloodhound. I mean, it's, you do not give up, and you will not give up on anyone or anything until justice is done.
Everybody asks me when I'm going to retire. Nobody knows how old I am. Everybody thinks I'm 50 some years old. I'm not. Let me tell you this. I'm on Social Security.
Okay.
So I'm above 65.
Yeah.
So, but I'm writing a book right now, and my goal is, why haven't you retired yet? I said, well, I'm gonna stay in this business. I will advise people and help people. When I write my book, I want to get on the book tour. I'm writing a book about 10 of my high-profile cases, and Nancy Grace is doing the forward in my book. And I want to get out and I want to go talk about my book and what I've done for the last 40 years. I want to share that with people. I want to get out and talk, and then I can sell my book, and hopefully then I might slow down just a little bit. But I love what I do, and I'm here. If anybody, it's on your network, needs me, please send me an email. You can send me an email to tjward@tjwardpi.com. And I will respond to you immediately. If you leave your phone number and all, I'll call you. You'll hear from me personally.
So I have and God bless you for your work. I'm astounded, and my mind is racing with questions and the time we have. The voice analysis that is sticking to so my day job. I'm an international human resource consultant, and whenever there are discrimination allegations, harassment allegations, I'm not an attorney, but like the first line of defense, I'll do investigations from an employment standpoint. And then, and because of my background, what I survived, I have the ability to read people like a large print book under a magnifying glass. And I'm also a human lie detector because that's how I survived, by reading the nuances of everything. But this voice analysis,
it's on my website. It's on my website.
Yeah. Can that be used? I mean, so I know polygraphs. I know there's a polygraph law for employment, at least, Employment Polygraph Protection Act, where they cannot be used except in certain cases, which don't apply to most of.
Voice analysis can't be used in court either, just like the polygraph. But I will tell you, the polygraph is about 55% accurate. The voice analysis is 95% accurate. It's being used in 14 different countries.
Wow.
14 different countries.
In what way? I mean, how are people? Is it mainly in criminal?
For law enforcement. Yeah. For law enforcement. It's an investigative focus tool. And it's not, I don't have to use it in court against you, but if I'm doing an investigation, I'm going to see what's going on with you. If you're on drugs or whatever, I can see it in a test. I can see the next thing. My last question is your next answer. Okay. And I mean, it's amazing what it'll do. I use it all the time. Yeah. But that's how I got Vandersloot and Deepak and Satish. When they talked on TV, I started recording them. And I started looking at it, and I knew that they weren't telling the truth. I knew there was more to this than what they were talking about. And see, I don't have to have that person in front of me. I can do it over the phone.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do it from a recording. I get law enforcement that calls me where they've got a murder case or whatever, and they'll send me the recording, and I'll tell them what's going on with that recording. I'll tell them where they're lying. I mean, it's crazy.
So let me ask you this question. Because of my background and because of speaking, I mentioned when the show started, I have people reach out to me on a regular basis of either crimes against them or crimes against children, allegedly at this point, and they're looking for help. So let's say that they decide then to contact you. Can you walk us through, I send you an email, or like say I'm the person who's interested, so I send you an email, I call you, tell me what's going to happen.
I'll get with them and get all the facts and circumstances around the case, and then they got to hire me I don't care where they are, and then I would deal with the witnesses are the big deal in cases where people are accused. So, and again, I can interview them, I can use the voice analysis, and I'll tell you if they're telling the truth. That's a real good thing. Again, it's a focus tool, and then I can take and build my case against or build my case as far as defense is concerned to help somebody out to show they're not lying. And I will tell you, I've already been declared an expert testifying in court. So I'm an expert on the stand. What I learn and what I pull together, I'm going to be able to testify on your behalf to change the rules of what they're being charged with or not being charged with.
And what if they are the person being harmed and they're trying to get justice, or their children, and they're trying to get justice? What I come across, so just from people contacting me, the depth of local involvement. And again, there are good people everywhere, so I'm not saying this as a blanket statement, but I'll be hearing names of law enforcement, prosecutors, like the example you just said, judges, maybe the public school system, a few employees are involved, Maybe a couple of people in religious organizations are involved. Maybe a couple people in child protective services are involved. I mean, there's such a chain of events when it comes to the children of people who can coordinate harm. So
Let me
this,
tell you one of the first things that I do when I get a case
yeah,
where there's law enforcement or government agents involved.
yeah,
I check them out. I've gotten cases dismissed because of running a background on law enforcement. Law enforcement been in trouble before. I
yeah,
had a drug case with a lawyer who came to me, and his client was charged with having possession of drugs and dispersing of drugs.
yeah,
I ran a background on a police officer. The police officer was under investigation by POST, the Peace Officer Standard Training Council,
yeah.
taking drugs from law enforcement from his own agency. That case, again, what that attorney was representing, got dismissed.
Wow.
The first thing you do, you have to find out about the person that's bringing the action. And the same thing with people that hire me.
Yeah.
I have to find out about that person that's hired me.
Yes.
Okay. You have to know about what you're dealing with before you deal with the problem.
Right.
And the same way with law enforcement. I check law enforcement out before I get involved with them. Okay. Because I got to know both sides of the fence to be able to get the real answer. So I'm an expert testifying. Okay.
Yep.
And I have a degree in psychology. So I can read people just like you can.
Yep.
Okay. That's what makes me good at what I do.
Me too.
And being able to sit down and interview with somebody. I mean, I have law enforcement, and I'm going to tell you, the caliber of law enforcement now is not like it was when I was there. And look what's going on now.
Yeah.
Look what's going on now with ICE.
Yes.
Look at these. I'm telling you, if I was in law enforcement, I would already be in jail. But somebody picks up a brick, and see, they need to end up shooting somebody. And I hate to say that, but these people will stop when they see that they're not going to put up with it. Right now, they've got reins on them because of what's going on.
Yeah.
Somebody picks up a brick and throws it at you. Look at that sheriff that came out I saw it on Facebook down in Florida.
Yeah.
Told these people, did you see that?
I did. It was awesome.
If you come here and stop a motor vehicle, or you do this, and if you pick up, you point a gun or pick up a rock and throw it at us, we're going to be calling your family where to pick up your remains.
Yes.
We're not kidding.
Yeah. Yes. I love that. And
that's happened in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these people got to know that this can't transpire, and it's happening in so many different places. And the problem is the government is backing these people that are doing this. Some of these government agencies.
Yes.
They need to arrest the government agencies that are doing this. They need to lock them up. They're getting involved in it with a government project going on, doing this, and they need to make an example out of them and have them arrested. That's why all this, when they tried to get into the holding facility, where was it, Virginia or whatever?
Yes. Yeah.
They ended up arresting some of the persons. They're going to prosecute them. They're going to get prosecuted. They're going to get prosecuted. They're not going to get off the hook because they're a politician, just per se. No, not going to happen. And I love all these people now that were up there with Donald Trump, that nobody is exempt from being prosecuted. Now it's coming back and biting them. They say what they said is now going to be used against them.
Amen. So we have about 10 minutes left, audience. I'm going to play a quick commercial break, and we'll be back.
Life Empowered is closer than you think. We're all looking for a better way. Reimagine what's next with a new sense of exuberance. Why not power on like you mean it? Or power off blissfully? A better sleep is a better awake. You've never moved like this before. With the energy nature intended. Imagine reprogramming the way you look at the speed of science, at longevity, at exhilaration. It's next level rejuvenation. Take control of your well-being from the inside out and outside in. The light within is ready to ignite. Be the light. LifeWave.
So that was LifeWave, the wearable medbed technology where the X39 and Celergize together regenerates and reactivates your stem cells. It is the wearable medbed. You know, TJ, before the break, you give me hope because we have waited for years for justice. You know, we see these atrocities being committed by these government agencies or the organizations in charge of hiring people to do these riots because they're not we the people initiated, you know, calm peaceful protests per our rights. This is nothing to do the we the people do not do what we're seeing, and yet we don't see justice. You know, we saw the Summer of Love event, you know, where it was just quite the opposite, people being harmed, businesses destroyed. You give me hope, and I'm grateful.
Well, I will tell you and tell your audience, I am, if they bring me on board, I am there for them. Okay. I'm 110%. If something is some not right, I mean, I shared a story with you that I wouldn't even think that I would have shared what happened to me. Okay.
Yes.
I know the other side of midnight, and I
Yes.
had to defend myself. And I have to tell you this, the state board that governs my license
Yeah.
fined me $1,500 for what happened up there before the facts even came out. Okay. I paid it and let it go. But the mere fact, and I've reminded them, I said, you need to look at the facts that what happened in the case when the lawyers exposed the district attorney's office doing what I caught them to do. And
Right.
that's what I was hired to find out. But see, they tried to use me as their excuse of what transpired. But rest assured, that's not going to fly. They're gone. I'm still here. Okay. Still here.
Amen. Amen.
Yep.
And I have to know, TJ, you're just a fierce proponent for the underdog, a fierce proponent for we the people, a fierce proponent for justice, a true warrior. Um, has this been you your entire life? And because how did you even enter the private investigator field?
Was the money. Let me tell you this. When I was flying a helicopter in Rockdale County, Georgia,
Okay.
and this was 1980. I was making $23,000 a year.
Okay.
Okay. I make $23,000 a month. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So no, but I was blessed to be where I am. And my father ended up getting in law enforcement after I did. He was the reserve. And then when he left his company at 56 years old, he said, what am I going to do? I'm retired now. I said, do you want to get in law enforcement? And he was a reserve in the agency that I worked for.
Yeah.
He said, they're not going to hire me. I said, do you want to go in law enforcement? I got him a job starting as a patrolman. 14 years later, he retired as a commander.
Oh, wow.
Yep. My father, I talked about this yesterday with somebody. My father never told me he was proud of me. He told everybody else.
Oh,
When he died, he had a big law enforcement funeral. He died in
yeah.
1998.
Yeah.
One of his friends came up and told me how proud my dad was of me.
Oh, no, that's amazing. I love that. We have time for another couple stories. Tell me another story you'd like to highlight.
Well, I just got hired on a case in Michigan. A gentleman went up there. He's from New Jersey, and he just hired me yesterday. He went up he had a falling out with his girlfriend who lived up in Michigan. So he went up there at Christmas time and went to church. He's Catholic. Went to a Catholic church, and he had a couple of friends up there, and he was going to try to meet her and try to work things out. Well, her father saw him in church, and somebody told him that he was coming up there to kidnap his daughter. He went to law enforcement, a small agency in Michigan.
Yeah.
They arrested him.
What?
And they turned the case over from their local little town arrest. The feds have got involved. He's in a federal holding facility right now. He's been in jail now for 2 years. He had no intentions of kidnapping this girl. And now he's hired me to find out with witnesses and all that that's not the case. He's trying to hire Bob Barr, but you're talking about $50,000. His family's trying to raise money. They gave me a little bit of money to speak to some witnesses yesterday. So we're going to do so. I mean, he's a businessman. He's now out of work. You know, he was working for a big company in New Jersey, but he's been in prison. He's been being held, and I told him, I said, if you get Bob on board, we'll file a habeas in federal court, and I'll get you out of jail, and to do what we need to do. But he's been sitting there. He's had public defenders, and nobody's done what they said they were going to do. But
so back up just a second. How does a man like this get arrested? How does
the family was well known with law enforcement? The father was well known, and they issued a warrant for his arrest.
Wow.
So this is the problem we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
Who you are and what you are, and who you know and what you know. Okay, that's what's going to change in Washington D.C. right now. Did you see yesterday with all the crime that's going on in Washington? Did you see what Trump came out and said?
I don't think so.
Take over Washington D.C.
I did hear that, and people are debating what that means.
He said, "I'm about to shut Washington D.C. down and take it over." Well,
it means.
Yeah, he just appointed Judge Jenny as the prosecutor in Washington.
He did. Yeah, he did.
But he's got the right people in the right place to do and change what has been transpiring with the government. And I think, and there's a lot of people that hate Donald Trump. Trust me, I run across them every day.
Yeah.
But they have to understand he's about the people. And you know what he talks about all the time?
Yeah.
God.
Yes, he does. Amen.
He talks about God all the time. That's his number one. Everybody said, "You're the greatest thing." He said, "No, I'm not the greatest thing." I said, "Let me tell you who the greatest thing is. Jesus Christ is the greatest thing. God is the greatest over me." And to tell the American people that's something big. I mean, just think back what's happened in the last administration. Just think back and now all that's being exposed. Who was running the country for the last 8 months?
Good question.
We don't know that. We don't know that.
No, we don't. Although we're starting to find out.
You know what? They're going to find out. They're going to find out. And because it's a violation of law, was his son running the country? Was his wife running the country? And it's pretty scary. I'm glad something didn't happen. I mean, really. And,
exactly.
Really. But people, the Democrats, they need to thank God that Trump is about the people. That's what's going on now. He's about the people of this country, whether you're Democrat, Republican, or indifferent or other. He's about trying to get things done and get this country where it needs to be. Look at the gas. Look what he did. Look what he did. Biden, right before he went in office, he said there'll be no drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. You know what Trump did?
Drill, baby, drill.
No. You know why he's drilling? Biden put out an order that there'd be no drilling in the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
Do you know what Trump did? He changed the name, Gulf of America.
Yeah.
Now they're drilling.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got to think. Everybody's concerned about him. This is a businessman. He's not a government. He wasn't working with the government. He's not a politician. He's a businessman, and he's running the country as a business now to make money. Look at all the things he's gotten rid of. Look at how much money he saved this country already.
That's right.
And but somebody needs to give him a pat on the back, okay, to what's going on instead of trying. But this is all political of what's going on. But look at Democratic Party's upside down right now. They don't even have a leader.
That's
right. They need to worry about that and stop trying to go after Trump. And everybody's concerned. Oh, they brought the impeachment word up again. They're not going to impeach him. He's not going anywhere. If they tried to impeach him again, this world is going to. They're going to find out who the real warriors are because they're going to come out of the woodwork.
That's right. Yes, I think we the people are awake now. I believe we were in a coma prior to 2020, and then maybe even on life support prior to 2020, and then everyone woke up.
Yep, and you're exactly right. You're exactly right. But
awake.
Again, whatever I can do to help any of your audience, if somebody needs help, please email me, call me, whatever. I answer the phone. My cell number and my office number is on my website. And
your website again is?
tjwardpi.com.
Very
Okay.
good. Well,
Please
thank
call
you.
me. I don't care where you are. Again, if somebody is out there that we get a GoFundMe up for Jesse Arnold. I mean, it's sad. Jesse's been married for his wife works in the hospital here,
Yeah,
and she hasn't seen him or been around him in 25 years. Okay.
it's criminal.
I mean, it is, and it is, and so we're setting up a GoFundMe, and so my associate is named Elliot Kramer. He's setting it up with me, and if they would just contact me, I'll get them in touch with him, and if they want to donate money, that would be super, and to try to help him.
Well, I want to encourage my audience to do so. And thank you so much, TJ, for being on today. I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. I am so proud to know such a warrior like you for we the people around the world. You're doing God's work, and Godspeed to you. God bless you. And for my audience listening, we have thousands of people listening. Thank you so much for those in the chat who are who've been posting the show. We also have many wonderful comments. Shout out to VC Truth. And until next time, this is the Lynne Scott Haggerman podcast, where truth is rising, and so are we.
Light breaks the shadow of the weary heart. Truth cuts the dark like a flaming dart. Voices rising strong to lift the call.